cover of the only story by Julian Barnes. Noff, handout, Paul loves Susan and Susan loves Paul. The only problem is that Susan is already married to Gordon. And she's 48 years old while Paul is only 19. And it's the early 1960s in a suburb south of London, which, even if it were deep enough into that heady decade, wouldn't be nearly swinging enough to turn a blind eye to their tryst. And as if this weren't enough, the author of their liaison amoureuse is Julian Barnes. Those familiar with Barnes' other forays into the field of romantic love, Before She Met Me, Talking It Over and its sequel Love, etc., even his Booker Winning the Sense of an Ending, will know that things aren't likely to go smoothly for Paul and Susan in his newest, The Only Story. Barnesian affairs of the heart never do. Nevertheless, as Susan explains early on to her young lover, everyone has their love story. Everyone. It may have been a fiasco, it may have fizzled out, it may never even have got going, it may have been all in the mind. That doesn't make it any less real. Sometimes, it makes it more real. Article continued below. Paul and Susan's love story feels very real indeed, and it too is a fiasco and fizzles and, for each of them at times, is something all in the mind. By turns sardonic and shattering, Barnes takes us from the flowering to the falling off of an affair that, though it began as declaration uniqueness and quiet rebellion against the average, falls prey to the most commonplace of human follies and community standards against which it kicks. But for all that, Paul understands that their relationship is the core of his very being, the thing that made him the man that he is, and he tells us, echoing Susan's earlier sentiment, most of us have only one story to tell. I don't mean that only one thing happens to us in our lives. There are countless events, which we turn into countless stories. But there's only one that matters. This is mine, and it is staggering, intelligent, inspiring, tender and, ultimately, quite devastating. Stephen Finnegan is a novelist and short story writer. He lives in Toronto.